When the uniform comes off, the sense of duty remains. Across the UK, ordinary days can become pivotal moments of decision, moments when police officers, off duty and out of sight, chose to act. These officers are remembered alongside all officers and staff who have died in the line of duty at the UK Police Memorial at the National Memorial Arboretum.
As the centre of York stood still, a lone piper led the cortege past standard bearers from every force in the country, heads bowed for a fallen officer. PC Rosie Pryor said she became a police officer to help people, and she died doing just that.
Today, tributes were paid to police officer Ian DeBell, who was shot and killed when confronting a gunman near his house in Clacton-on-Sea.
Off-duty police officer Frank Mason was shot and killed today, trying to arrest armed robbers in Hemel Hempstead.
Detectives in the capital mounted their second hunt for a police killer in a fortnight. The spot where DC Morrison was attacked was tonight marked by a single bunch of flowers.
Jim was probably about 10 or 11 when he wanted to be a police officer. He applied and the Met were the first to respond and say yes. So he moved from Scotland to London and then started at Bow Street. I got a flat that was just at the back of the police station. So my whole life really was in Covent Garden. He went into CID at Bow Street and he just loved his job. Never off duty. Quite a few occasions we'd go out and he'd see something that wasn't quite right. I'd end up going home alone and he'd end up escorting them to the police station. It was only 2 weeks before Christmas, so Covent Garden at the time is always busy, but at Christmas it's like super busy. He was meant to meet a friend in a local pub. For some reason, they didn't turn up, and he ended up just walking back and saw somebody stealing a handbag and tried to apprehend them. And then outside the British Transport Museum, the guy took out a knife, and I think Jim got at that point stabbed or cut on the arm. The guy then ran off. Jim then chased him and got to Montreal Place. The guy ended up stabbing him in the heart. A friend turned up at the door to say, we need to get you to the hospital. Waited, half hour, an hour maybe, to then be told that it was fatal.
Frank Mason, speaking to colleagues, they describe him as a hard-working, really well-liked individual. He was 27 years old. He'd been in the police since 1984, so around 4 years. And on the 14th of April 1988 was off-duty. He was walking his dog near to Bank Court, the Barclays Bank area of Hemel Hempstead. He's seen an armed robbery in progress with 3 males. Frank has put himself on duty without any thought about himself, seeing that there was members of the public around, tackled the offenders, and that is when the gun was turned on him and he was shot. The shooting of Frank was ultimately fatal. He passed away at the location. Officers that work in Hemel will be informed about Frank's bravery. Every year on the 14th of April, officers converge on Bank Court, and each year we celebrate one officer that has gone above and beyond and showed the courage, bravery, the work ethic that Frank did, and ensure that the memory of Frank lives on. Frank has left a legacy in Hertfordshire. The family take great comfort in the fact that we continue to remember Frank and to celebrate his life and to celebrate his bravery.
On the 11th of January, Rosie Pryor was off duty but stopped to help a member of the public by the side of the A19 near Thirsk. She was killed alongside another man, 41-year-old Ryan Welford from Knaresborough. Rosie Pryor joined the force 3 years ago. She was a wife and the mother of 2 boys.
Rosie and I met at work. We worked in a marketing data company. So we were there together for about 3 years, and then she moved on to a different company. Then our firstborn turned up. He was probably about 7, somewhere around there, and she set up a coffee business. And then COVID happened, kept bumping into the same people around the park. She started talking to this chap who had a dog, and he was a dog handler for the police. And at the time, Boris Johnson created the need for 20,000 new police officers. So he suggested that Rosie would be really good for it. And so she applied and got into the police. I was really proud of what she was doing. She loved it. She would come home at 3 o'clock in the morning, wake me up, tell me all about the day. So yeah, she absolutely adored it. It was around about 9 o'clock in the morning. She was coming back from swimming with our elder son, and she was just driving down the A19, and she came across somebody who'd had a road traffic collision. So she pulled up on the side of the road, and got out and ran to see what was going on and if she could help them. And she was on the side of the road with the individuals, and then an articulated lorry came and unfortunately killed 2 people and injured another one. And yeah.
Ian DeBell, he was well known across the force, long serving, good local officer, respected, and doing his best to keep that community safe. Ian was at home. He's off duty, it was the summer, it was 2012, and then he hears a gunshot. He goes out into the street to be confronted by a disturbance, sees his next door neighbour and a guy who's clearly armed, threatening people, and then tries to make off in a car. Ian intervenes. He tried to stop the car, he tried to do that. He, tried to reach into the car through the window in order to apprehend the driver, to grab the gun. He's reaching in, his hands are in front of him, and that sadly was when he was shot through his hand and into his chest. And then that hunt for the perpetrator was found in a nearby churchyard the following day, having taken his own life. He was awarded the George Medal, probably the highest civilian gallantry award, and is still remembered, across the force for the work he did and the part he played in keeping Essex and Clacton safe. You are never off duty, you swear the oath, to prevent crime, to protect the public. And I think it's important for society and for the community to remember that there are people who they haven't gone home.
You wouldn't expect him to do anything else because that was just him. But you don't expect to go to work and not come home.
Frank had only been married for a year. He was at the very beginning of his life, and there should have been a lot more in front of him. If you're a criminal or anybody and you decide to go and kill a police officer, life should mean life. 2 of these males are now back out on the streets, and it leaves a bitter taste, I think, in everybody's mouths, the fact that these males have been able to go back on and rebuild their lives. The biggest focus clearly is the boys. I think the key driver ultimately is to get more of the police officers to contribute the £1.50 a month into the children's charity, who have been phenomenal to our boys.
Anybody who goes into public service knows there's sacrifice to be made. Communities can't thrive unless they are safe places. Businesses can't work. People can't go to school, unless there is people there keeping communities safe. And having that national memorial puts that on a par with all of the other, valid and worthwhile sacrifices that people make to keep communities safe. And I think that's just so important.
He was only 26. He would have been 27 a week later. So yeah, just a lot to live for. So it's nice to know that he's still remembered and still missed.
I'd like it to be remembered as doing the right thing.
but unfortunately she sacrificed her life for it. And I think for me, there's several things to be remembered. Ultimately, at the end of it all, is caring and an amazing mum.